You can make a lot of money in sales without any experience or a college degree. For example, the average entry-level role in tech sales right now pays over $83,000 a year on average with no need for experience or a degree. But the best way to get to those earnings is to learn how to cold call, and I bet you hate getting cold called, and who wants to become what they hate? You probably don't even want to become what mildly annoys you. Just think about your parents. In this video, I'm going to explain why people understandably hate cold callers, why cold calling still works for businesses, why it's the most important skill that you can learn if you want to do well in sales, and how to start being able to learn how to do it. Oh, and if you haven't seen my face before, I'm Troy Barger. Over the past 18 years, I have helped thousands of salespeople go from making no money in sales to $100,000 or more a year consistently, and I hated cold callers when I first started as well. If you're looking to get better at sales, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you're alerted anytime I post a new sales training video on here. Now, people understandably hate cold callers because of a bad experience they probably got when somebody cold called them in the past. Most of this is because the cold calls they got in the past were B2C. In other words, it was a business calling to an individual end consumer, not a business calling to a business. Here's why most people have a bad experience with B2C cold calls. Well, first off, most B2C cold callers suck at their job. Hello?
Hey, this is Frank with ABC Pool Cleaners. I was wondering if you guys might be interested in us cleaning your pool for you.
Dude, we don't even own a pool.
Oh, well, what if, you get one, then maybe we could... If you got one, maybe we could help.
No, you don't want to get that phone call. I don't want to get that phone call. No one wants to get that phone call. And if that's the only type of cold call you've ever got, then that's what you assume all cold calling is. And who would ever want to do that for a living? Another reason why people have bad experiences with B2C cold calls is because the thing that the cold caller is offering is completely irrelevant to you. They're offering something that makes absolutely no sense, and the reason why is because they're using a spray and pray method. They are calling every individual residence that they can call, hoping that they'll run into somebody eventually that might be interested in what they're offering. But in their wake, most of the people that they talk to have absolutely no use for what it is that they're offering, and that creates a bad experience where you begin to assume, I never liked anything that anyone was offering me on a cold call, so cold calling doesn't work. When in reality, it does work. It just doesn't work when you're calling to people that have no interest in what you're offering. And finally, it's easy to have a bad experience with B2C cold calls because a lot of B2C cold calls are a scam. Businesses don't get scammed by fake Nigerian princes. Individuals do. And there's a lot of other individual scams that happen, and when people are calling you directly, you will often be on the other line with someone that is trying to scam you out of your money. That's the way a lot of this B2C nonsense happens. A lot of robo-dials, they don't work with a business, but they work sometimes when you do it to consumers. And if they do it enough, where you're seeing enough spam risk on your phone, you begin to hate cold calling in general, and you begin to assume that every cold call is a scam. And when it comes to B2C, a lot of the time, you're right going with those instincts. The reason why cold calling still works is that all of those high-paying sales jobs that we were talking about earlier, most of them are B2B. In other words, they're cold calling representing a business that has a solution that can solve the problems of the businesses that they're calling into. Here's why B2B cold calling still works really well when it's done right. First, it's targeted. The lead list that people are calling in B2B are usually a targeted list in a targeted industry, and they may have already been enriched with better contact numbers, better information, so you know that when you're calling in to that particular industry, that particular business size, that particular persona, the chance that they have a need for what you're offering is way higher than when you're just spraying and praying, calling every residence that you can. People hate cold calls until the call is relevant to what they need. I've taken numerous meetings off of cold calls, and every time it's because the person that was cold calling was offering something that was relevant and top of mind, and it was more convenient for me to have that conversation with them right now than to wait until later on in the day when I had time to be able to do research on it. They're calling right now, and they're in the right place at the right time, and that really is what cold calling is all about. It's not about convincing somebody to buy something when they have no need for it. It's making enough calls targeted in the right industry where you eventually run into somebody that has a need for what you're offering. So how are the leads more enriched and more targeted than they might be in B2C? Well, you're usually using a lead enrichment tool or a list building tool like Seamless.ai. We have a $99 sales development course that teaches you everything that you would need to learn to be successful in cold calling and sales development for your first 6 to 12 months in the role. You can get enrolled in that course for free if you click the link that's in the description here and get 50 free lead credits through Seamless.ai to get an idea of how to build a enriched lead list. By the way, it costs absolutely nothing. You don't need to enter a credit card or anything, but if you sign up for those 50 lead credits through Seamless.ai, you'll get our sales course for free. Next reason why B2B cold calling works better than B2C cold calling is B2B cold callers are usually better at their job. They have better pay, better training, better resources, and a lot of B2B cold callers view their job like it's a legitimate profession that they can make real money at and turn into a career. A lot of B2C cold callers look at their job like it's just some telemarketing job that they're going to take for now and then they'll move on to something else. Because B2B cold callers often take their job more seriously, they become better at it and they sound like they belong on the phone a lot more than people that are calling B2C. Not all of the time, but a lot of the time. Another reason why B2B cold calling still works is that it's fairly easy to vet a B2B company to make sure that it's not a scam. They're not looking to do a one-call quick close on the phone before you can do any research on the company. And when you're cold calling representing a business, you can provide that prospective customer with case studies, customer testimonials, different reviews that you might have, and it will put them at ease and let them know that if they're interested in this, chances are it's going to work because they have all of this information where they vetted the company and make sure that they're above board. So that's why B2B cold calling still works incredibly well when you do it right. But why is cold calling the most important skill that a salesperson can have? First off, nobody likes doing it, but everyone eventually has to do it. And because no one likes doing it, most people don't dedicate time to get better at it. But it is one of the most important things that you can know how to do. So the more that you invest in getting better at cold calling, the more that you separate yourself from everybody else that is in your field. Like I said earlier, the entry-level role in tech sales right now pays over $83,000 a year on average. The average salesperson doesn't like to cold call and they're not making a big investment in getting better at cold calling. If you make that investment and continually work to get better at it, you're not going to earn $83,000 a year. That's on average. Your first year, you could earn a lot more than that. That isn't a pie in the sky number. That's the average. Above average does better. The next reason is because those inbound leads that you get from marketing or from an ad or from somebody clicking something on the website and coming to you, those leads dry up at every single place I've ever worked at or every single place you're ever going to work at. That is a fact of life. The inbounds never perform predictably, consistently, month in and month out. There will be a month or a series of months where those inbounds dry up and there's way less than there was before, and the only way that you're going to be able to hit your target is to cold call. It's very similar to, believe it or not, The Walking Dead, all right? Everyone was raised knowing how to shop at the grocery store until it happened, and there's walkers everywhere, right? And then you had to learn to hunt. Cold calling is knowing to hunt before that event inevitably happens where you no longer can go to the grocery store for your leads. You're going to have to go out there and get them yourself. And when you know to hunt in sales, you always have a seat at the table. Another reason cold calling is such an important skill is that it gets a lot more done faster than emailing and DMs do. When you send somebody an email, even if they're interested and they reply back to you, which by the way, hardly ever happens, even when you have a great email sequence, you're going to get a little bit of information from them. And then you're going to have to reply to that and then hope that they respond quickly with the next piece of information that you need. And before you know it, you've had this email correspondence over the course of 3 days that you could have got all of that information on a 10-minute phone call if you just cold called them. You get a lot more done faster, you're able to qualify things quicker, and you're actually able to connect a lot more often than you will on email. Finally, sales managers love people that are down to cold call and aren't afraid to cold call. When you first start at a sales job, you're not going to impress people by landing 1,000,000 sales and beating everybody the first day that you get there. But you can impress your boss by making more dials than anybody else on the floor, and I guarantee that will impress them. It creates the best first impression that you possibly can make in sales, and you only get one chance at that first impression. You will get 1,000,000 chances to screw up that first impression, but you get one chance to make it, and the best way to do that is by pounding the phone on your first day. You can beat everybody on the sales floor, even the #1 rep that they have, at dials day one. And by the way, chances are it won't be that hard for you to beat everybody because most people aren't dialing the phone most of the day. So what are they doing with most of the day? Well, they're not emailing, they're not enriching leads, they're usually doing nothing throughout the day. They're sitting there on their phone, they ain't doing anything. It's very easy to pass most people on a sales floor, and the best way to do that is by cold calling. So all that sounds great, right? And you're still with me. So how do you get better at cold calling? Well, really, the best way to get better at cold calling is by picking up the phone and cold calling. You will learn more on the phone than you'll learn from any training, course, anything like that. The best way to learn it is to just start doing it and start doing it a lot and try to learn from your mistakes and from the things that led to success on every single call. Now, as I said earlier, we have a sales development course that goes over everything that you would need to be a successful cold caller. 68 different modules, exercises, and assignments. And you can get that for free if you sign up for 50 free lead credits with Seamless on the link that's in the description. Now, if you don't have a business email to be able to sign up for those lead credits and get the course for free, then just check the description and I'll have a promo code in there that will get you a discount on the course if it's something that you're interested in. Again, you don't need the course. I know plenty of salespeople that were a success without ever using a course, but if you want the convenience of everything in one place where you can learn all of it and get better, and you like the way that I train, we've got available options. Listen, I hope you found this information helpful. I hope that you're inspired to learn how to cold call and start your sales career, or if you're already in sales, to get better at it by getting better at cold calling. If you found this video helpful, like the video. It helps me out a lot. Leave a comment. That helps too. Share it to somebody that you know that you think might benefit from it, and follow me for more tips on how to up your sales game.